In my last life, I relied on my status as a rich second generation and forced Liu Ruyan to marry me. But I didn't expect that she would stay dormant for 3 years, and finally took away all my family's property, and forced my parents to jump off the building. Only then did I know that everything was just her plan. I didn't want to die too ugly, so I chose to commit suicide by swallowing pills. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day when I first met Liu Ruyan. This time I didn't look at him more, but turned around and married Bai Ningbing according to my parents' wishes. I agreed to marry Ningbing, and the words fell, and there was a dead silence around. All the words my parents had prepared were stuck in their throats. My childhood friend also had a look of seeing a ghost. After all, just a second ago, I was determined not to agree to this marriage. At this time, footsteps came from the door and I looked back. It was Liu Ruyan. In my previous life, I was rebellious and obsessed with looks, so I refused to agree to my family's arrangement. When I was arguing with my parents, Liu Ruyan appeared and I fell in love with her at first sight. Ignoring everyone's opposition, I just wanted to marry this beautiful and ambitious woman. And Liu Ruyan was also very competitive. It took only 3 years to seize my family's property and forced my parents to jump off the building. Only then did I realize that my robbery was just what she wanted. Now I didn't look at him anymore and turned back to my room. My childhood friend came up to chat with me, and I heard shocking information from him. It's not surprising that you don't care about business matters and don't know Liu Ruyan. The strong woman who has emerged in the business world is so beautiful that people who want to marry her line up all the way to France. I was so shocked that I stuttered a little. Strong women are emerging in the business world. Childhood friend, yes, didn't you hear your dad call her Mr. Liu just now? This is not right. According to the time in the previous life, Liu Ruyan is still a female social animal who works as an assistant under my father. The rise of strong women in the business world happened 3 years later. Is my memory confused? A few days later, my dad took me to have dinner with the Bai family. As soon as I arrived at the door of the restaurant, I met Liu Ruyan again. Someone next to me pulled my dad to greet him. Liu Ruyan approached me and asked in a low voice, "Do you agree to marry Bai Ningbing?" I looked up at him in confusion. I shouldn't know him at this time. "You are Liu Ruyan," who didn't answer my question and said what he wanted to say, "Don't marry Bai Ningbing." So funny that he said if he doesn't marry me, then he won't marry me. If he doesn't marry Bai Ningbing, will he marry her? Then let him force my parents to death again. When I think of the scene in my previous life when my parents jumped off the building and died in front of me, I feel heartbroken. I blame myself very much. It was because I was too willful that they died. I will never go down that road again in this life. What I didn't expect was that Liu Ruyan came to propose marriage the next day. My parents were also shocked. My mother asked me softly, "Ayuan, when did you know her?" If she didn't know, why did she come to propose marriage? She is still the woman. I couldn't answer. In fact, my parents wanted me to marry Liu Ruyan. After all, her current net worth is not comparable to that of 10 Bai families. But I don't want to no matter what. My parents think it's very strange, and my childhood friend thinks it's even more strange. Why don't you want to marry Liu Ruyan? You are rich and beautiful, but you take the initiative to propose marriage. Don't you like beautiful ones? I like ugly ones now. My parents are in Liu Ruyan. Now I dare not refuse them in person. Liu Ruyan agreed to let me think about it. But she came to me again to ask why she didn't want to marry me. We didn't know each other. "I know you are back." I was shocked. How could he know that I was back? Could he be reborn? But when I died in my previous life, he was in glory. Why did he die? I gritted my teeth and suppressed all the panic, pretending to be calm. I didn't understand what Mr. Liu said. No matter how rich and powerful you are, you can't force me to marry you in a society ruled by law. Why not? Liu Ruyan's eyes are unfathomable, and her tone is light and slow, but with a suffocating sense of oppression. "Fangyuan, I want to marry you, and I will definitely do it. Why did I lick her in my last life and didn't get a testimony until I died? I don't want to marry her in this life, but she insists on me marrying her. Why do people have to be so mean? Or does she have some other conspiracy in this life?" Liu Ruyan in this life is no different from the previous life, and she does not hesitate to be ruthless. Under his strong suppression, the Bai family soon became bankrupt. Bai Ningbing looked haggard, but still apologized to me gently. "I'm sorry, Yuan, our marriage is going to be invalidated." I thought that I would hurt him to this extent. I don't know when Liu Ruyan will be crazy. I had no choice but to go to him. "What on earth are you going to do, Rob?" He chuckled. "Isn't this your favorite game? Yuan, as long as you marry me, I will let you go. I will never marry you from the Bai family. I cannot accept my parents dying in front of me, and I am powerless. I can only swallow pills to understand. Liu Ruyan will never know how much regret I felt when I died in my previous life. My parents are dazzled by Liu Ruyan's current talent and knowledge, and Liu Ruyan took the initiative to propose marriage. The balance in their hearts has actually tilted a long time ago, but because they have been friends with the Bai family for many years and have no intention of breaking up, they tried to persuade me. "Yuan, what exactly are you dissatisfied with Liu Ruyan? He is rich and powerful, and has a special liking for you if you get married. Your life in the future will not be bad, you nodded. Everything will be fine with the Bai family, and I won't feel sorry for them. Will it really be fine? In my previous life, Bai Ningbing had always loved me silently. After my parents jumped off the building, Liu Ruyan and I had a falling out. I wanted to leave, but Liu Ruyan wouldn't let me. After several big fights, I was taken to a villa in the suburbs by Liu Ruyan's bodyguards and placed under house arrest. Later, Bai Ningbing found me. He wanted to rescue me, but was discovered by Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan released the vicious dog and let me watch with my own eyes as Bai Ningbing was bitten to death by the vicious dog. Bai Ningbing knew I was scared, so he gritted his teeth and didn't scream. He even smiled at me gently before he died. When I think of that scene, the blood in my body seems to run hot. My heart was frozen. I clenched my hands and asked word by word, "Have you checked Liu Ruyan's background? Do you know who his parents are?" My father replied, "Doesn't it say in his information that he is not from here and his parents have passed away? He is from Nanha village and his father's name is Liu Ping." The 5 words Nanha village, Liu Ping together finally made my parents realize the seriousness of the matter. 20 years ago, when our family first started to engage in real estate, we took a fancy to a piece of land in Nanha village and wanted to develop it. Among them, several households could not reach an agreement on compensation for demolition. The people below gave my father an idea, saying that they could use some tricks to scare people away. At that time, in the real estate industry in the business world, everyone does it this way, and even takes the use of means as the norm, so my father did not think much about it and let the people below do it. What happened in the process and why Liu Ping died are difficult to find out after 20 years. I only remember that Liu Ruyan told me in my previous life that his father was forced to death by my father's people. After his father died, his mother took him to another place. The mother and daughter depended on each other and lived a hard life. Even more unfortunately, when he was 12 years old, his mother fell seriously ill. Before she died, she repeatedly told him to come back to avenge his father. Later, Liu Ruyan really came back and avenged him as she wished. My parents Bai Ningbing, he made a lot of money by killing 4 people, and I don't know how many more he wants to kill in this life. My parents wanted to marry into the Bai family before because the real estate environment has been bad in recent years, and the family's company has been going downhill. They wanted to use the power of a secret marriage to get the company back on track. Liu Ruyan seized on this point of my parents' psychology and gave him more funds than the Bai family, which almost made my parents fall for it. Now that they know Liu Ruyan's life experience and purpose, they no longer have the idea of asking me to marry Liu Ruyan. Later, I told them that I really like Bai Ningbing and want to spend my life with Bai Ningbing. Now that the Bai family has been involved, if we abandon them, our family's reputation will become bad. Yes, people in this circle are all shrewd. Our family has offended Liu Ruyan and abandoned the Bai family. Who will dare to have a sincere relationship with our family in the future? Thinking of this, my parents immediately straightened the originally tilted scale. My father also said to me, "Seriously, Yuan, just do whatever you want, your parents support you." When he said this, he never thought that I would take the household registration booklet and Bai Ningbing to secretly get a marriage certificate. At first, Bai Ningbing disagreed, but I told her that if you don't marry me this time, then even if your family turns over in the future, I will not want you anymore. Bai Ningbing pursed his lips tightly, and after a few seconds of hesitation, he took my hand. I stared at him. "If you have made up your mind, you can't regret it." Bai Ningbing chuckled and said, "I'm afraid you will regret it, I won't." 20 minutes later, at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Bai Ningbing and I had just gotten off the car when my cell phone rang. In this life, I didn't save Liu Ruyan's cell phone number, but that string of numbers had long been engraved in my mind. I knew it was Liu Ruyan calling at a glance. Was it a coincidence or did he send someone to monitor me? He called to stop me and Bai Ningbing from getting the certificate. Who did he think he was? If he didn't let me marry Bai Ningbing, I wouldn't marry her. I hung up his phone and muted my phone. When Bai Ningbing and I got the certificate, I looked at my phone again and found that he had sent me a message. "Yuan, you will regret it." "What are you regretting?" "Regret not letting the wolf into the house. Regret not offering your sincerity to him and letting him trample on it." It's ridiculous. Liu Ruyan didn't come to the Civil Affairs Bureau in person during the day to stop Bai Ningbing and I from getting the certificate because he was on a business trip in the next city at that time. When he came back at night, he came to question me why I didn't answer the phone during the day, and who allowed you to marry Bai Ningbing. That tone, people who don't know the truth would think I cheated on him. I was so angry that I laughed and slowly asked Mr. Liu, "Are you too tired from the business trip and your mind is confused? We are not related. What does my marriage have to do with you?" Fang Yuan suddenly stepped forward, his expression completely darkened. "You don't have to pretend you don't know me. I know you are back. He has tested me many times before, but every time I pretended not to understand. This time I wanted to perfunctorily get over it. Suddenly I heard him say that when I went to your house that day, you didn't even look at me. I knew you were reborn." My heartbeat suddenly quickened, but I still had to continue to play innocent, and said with a smile, "Mr. Liu is really a joke. Do you believe in rebirth in this world?" "Liu Ruyan, I believe it because I am reborn so far, no matter whether I deny it or admit it." Next, Liu Ruyan has already determined that I am reborn. Not only that, she also knows that in my last life I swallowed pills. "Fang Yuan, you secretly committed suicide without telling me, leaving me alone. Do you think I would just let it go?" She actually had the nerve to mention suicide, when it was obvious that she was forcing me to do it. I had wanted to give her a surprise that day, but suddenly I received a call from my parents. They said that the debt owed by Yuan's parents should be repaid by themselves, and that you should live well. At that moment I realized something was wrong, but I didn't expect that my parents were already standing on the rooftop. After saying this, they jumped off the building together. When I arrived at the scene, my parents' bodies had not been taken away yet. The bright red blood spread far and wide, and it seemed to dye the sky red at a glance. There were so many people around and I heard them say that my parents fell to the ground almost at the same time, and my mother died on the spot. After my father landed, he looked up at my mother. Both of them were covered in blood and were unrecognizable. The police stopped me from going forward, but I still wanted to see my parents again and hug them again. While I was struggling, Liu Ruyan appeared. I regarded him as my last savior. Lifeline, he told me, Yuan, do you know why your parents jumped off the building? I forced myself to do this even though I have been reborn. When I think of these words I still get creepy. The biting cold rushes from the soles of my feet to the top of my head, and I tremble slightly with cold. Liu Ruyan looked at me with cold eyebrows and eyes, and her tone seemed to be in order. Call Bai Ningbing this morning to get a divorce. It is impossible for me to refuse like a conditioned reflex. Liu Ruyan sneered immediately. Then you just wait to collect the bodies of your parents. He is still as arrogant as in his previous life. I admit that he is indeed very capable. In his previous life, he took our family's property not for money, but just to avenge my parents. Before that, his worth had skyrocketed, and he had long become a superior person. After her rebirth, her timeline fast-forwarded a lot. As soon as she appeared, she was a novelty in the business world. A strong woman can do whatever she wants, but I was also reborn. I want to change my ending in my previous life. I want to save my parents. It is impossible for me to do nothing and let him do whatever he wants. For a few days later, Liu Ruyan's company ran into some trouble, and this trouble was created by someone I asked. Now he can't spare any hands to deal with my family, and even the Bai family can take a break temporarily. My childhood friend Ren Xiao asked me puzzledly, how do you know that Lishan and Liu Ruyan don't get along? Lishan usually conceals it so well, even my parents didn't notice it. If I said I was reborn, would you believe it? Haha, fortunately I dodged quickly, otherwise I would be sprayed with a drink in the face. Ren Xiao naturally wouldn't take my words seriously. Even though this was the fact, about 7 or 8 minutes later, Lishan also arrived. Maybe it was because we were on the same front now. When I looked at him, I felt that he was much more pleasing to the eye than in the previous life. Not long after he sat down, I found that he and Ren Xiao were flirting with each other, which was very disgusting. While Ren Xiao went to the toilet, I asked Miss Li indirectly, could you tell me, what are the conditions for your agreement to help? Lishan frowned slightly. What's the matter? Your good brother didn't tell you? No, Xiao. Maybe he was afraid that I would have a psychological burden. Lishan meant he made a long oh sound, paused for 2 seconds, and then said that he seduced me. Facing my stunned expression, Lishan laughed instead. I thought you were not in the mood to gossip about others. How come Bai Ningbing hasn't contacted you much in the past few days? Previously, the Bai family was suppressed by Liu Ruyan in an all-round way, and the company had already become a mess. Now that they have a chance to breathe offline, they naturally want to turn the tide. So Bai Ningbing said that he was busy recently, and I didn't think much about it. But from Lishan's tone, it seems that something has happened to the Bai family again. If Miss Li knows anything, please tell me directly. Lishan, Bai Jiaming needs to undergo surgery, but that surgery is very difficult. Only a doctor from abroad can do it. We can't invite him. We invited him, but now he is at Liu Ruyan's house. I was shocked. Liu Ruyan actually dared to snatch people away and detain them by force. That's not the case. Lishan was amused by my words and shook her head. It was that doctor who knew Liu Ruyan and took the initiative to stand on Liu Ruyan's side. Sometimes at that time, Ida was not worth mentioning in front of human feelings and interests. When Liu Ruyan said that she wanted to save Bai Jiaming, I had to kneel down and beg him. Bai Ningbing never asked me why I hated Liu Ruyan so much, and why I hurried to get the certificate with him when his family was in danger. No matter what I did, he unconditionally cooperated and supported me. In order not to embarrass me, he didn't even tell me about his family affairs. But how could I sit back and do nothing? If it weren't for me, the Bai family would not be involved at all. Originally, I thought that as long as Bai Ningbing and I got the certificate, there would be no emotional entanglement with Liu Ruyan. Putting aside feelings and only talking about revenge, he didn't need to go to the innocent Bai family and point all his firepower at my family. Wouldn't revenge be easier to succeed? Facts have proved that I underestimated Liu Ruyan's baby. In his eyes there is no innocence or innocence at all, only whether he can use it. In this life, do I have to sacrifice Bai Ningbing's father's life? I called Liu Ruyan. He was not surprised at all when he heard the phone call. He asked me calmly, do you regret it? What do you want? I will definitely take revenge, but for your sake I can spare your parents' lives and just send them to jail. And what else? Liu Ruyan hesitated for a few seconds, and then talked about the Bai family. I will let the doctor perform surgery on Bai Jiaming and will not suppress the Bai family's business again, but Bai Ningbing must promise that he will not contact you again in the future. I held the phone and was speechless for a long time. In this new life, can I only save my parents' lives? The Bai family had nothing to do with Liu Ruyan's reward. As long as I don't make trouble with Liu Ruyan later, I won't be under house arrest in a villa in the suburbs, and Bai Ningbing won't have to die to save me. It's just that I don't understand. In the previous life, Liu Ruyan clearly regarded me as his wife, so why does she have to have me now? Just because I took the initiative to commit suicide by swallowing pills and didn't die in his hands, he didn't feel pleasure, right? But that was also the result of his coercion. Liu Ruyan, what on earth do you want to do? I want to be with you, Yuan. You are so cruel. You died in your previous life and left me alone. Otherwise, should I live and grow old with you? Why not? Liu Ruyan's voice suddenly lowered, as if she was suppressing something. I do hate your parents, but you are you. I have never thought of killing you. If you live well, we will be happy. He is so funny. He forced my parents to death and killed Bai Ningbing, and then said that he would grow old with me. Does he think that I am as twisted as him? After so many things have happened, I will continue to love him even if there are several lives between us. The grievances of 2 lives completely broke out at this moment. I yelled at the other end of the phone, Liu Ruyan, you are a piece of trash. In the previous life my parents actually had a chance to fight back, but Liu Ruyan used me to threaten my parents and force them to give up the opportunity that was within their reach. He hypocritically said to me my parents promised that they would not let me know the truth, but they told me the truth right away, making me fall into an endless hell. How could such a person now talking to me about a happy life be worthy of it? I hung up the phone angrily and even wanted to smash the phone, but at this moment Bai Ningbing called me and asked, where are you? What's wrong? It's nothing. I just suddenly thought of you and felt a little uneasy, so I called to ask. I took a deep breath, suppressed my emotions, and then spoke. I'm fine, how is your father? As soon as the words came out of my mouth, Bai Ningbing and I were silent, because Bai Ningbing had never told me about his father, but I know it now. After a long time, Bai Ningbing's bitter smile came from the other end of the phone, and his voice instantly became hoarse. Yuan, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have hidden it from you, but I don't blame you for this. Everything was caused by me. How can I blame him? I'm just afraid that if his father really died because of this, can he and his father still be as before? How should I face his mother and his relatives? Fortunately, God is kind to me. The next day I got good news. One of my father's subordinates who worked for me in the past was finally found after traveling to many places. His name is Hu and he looks like a tiger. When he asked about Nanha village he was very excited. I remember that Lu Ping. He slapped his thigh and spitted. He said he was the greediest man in the whole Nanha village. We promised to give him more money than anyone else. He agreed at first, but then turned his face and denied it. Then he wanted to ask for more. He acted in front of us and said he was going to hit his head and die. As a result, he didn't control his strength and rushed out of the window. He happened to fall on the steel bars. Such a thick steel bar went through his body. How could he survive? Didn't you stop him? Hu sighed. What should I stop? It happened too fast. We didn't react. Besides, we had investigated beforehand Lu Ping owes a lot of money because of gambling. We can't just fill up his bottomless pit. Does Lu Ping's wife know about these things? She probably doesn't know. I asked those debt collectors, and they said that Lu Ping had paid on time before, so they didn't look for Lu Ping's wife. No wonder Lu Ping's wife didn't know about Lu Ping's gambling debts. In her eyes, she always thought that Lu Ping was a good husband. Moreover, the incident happened when Lu Ping was confronting Hu and others. In the eyes of Lu Ping's wife, it was Hu and others who forced her husband to death. Everyone in Nanha village knew that Hu and others worked for my father, so naturally they put the blame on my father. I guess he took the children away overnight to save his life and wait for the opportunity to come back for revenge. I took Hu to see Liu Ruyan. As expected, Liu Ruyan didn't believe a word of Hu's words. He even laughed contemptuously. You find one of your own to act in front of me. You take me for a fool. Son, if you don't believe what Hu said, then what about him? Besides Hu, the other people who came here today are Lao Shao, the secretary of Nanha village back then. He is a relative of Lu Ping's family. Ruyan is really you. You're so old now. Liu Ruyan was 8 years old when she followed his mother to leave Nanha village. He remembers Lao Shao, the old man who once held him in his arms. Lao Shao sighed repeatedly when he mentioned what happened back then. If your father hadn't been involved in gambling, had taken the demolition money, and celebrated your birthday with you and your mother, you would be old enough to enjoy a peaceful life now. Gambling is really harmful. Fortunately, you and your mother were not implicated. The more Lao Shao talked, the darker Liu Ruyan's face became. Her hands, which were hanging at her sides, clenched into fists unconsciously. It's hard to accept the facts that have been recognized for so many years once they are overturned in one day. Liu Ruyan gritted her teeth and squeezed out word by word. I don't believe my mother won't lie to me. Your mother won't lie to you, but if your mother is also deceived, drum. Your father came to my house in the dark in the middle of the night to borrow money, just because he didn't want your mother to know, and he also told us not to tell your mother. Look, this is the your father wrote. Lao Shao took out a wrinkled and yellowed paper from his pocket. Liu Ruyan took it and took a look but still said I didn't believe it. Then he drove us all out. I asked someone to send Hu and Lao Shao back first, and I continued to wait outside Liu Ruyan's house. Today is the last deadline for Bai Ningbing's father. If we can't wait for the doctor to perform surgery on him, we can only prepare for his funeral. After waiting for about 2 hours, Liu Ruyan came out. He said he wanted to talk to me. It's okay to talk, but you have to let the doctor go to the hospital first to perform surgery on Bai Ningbing's father. Liu Ruyan had asked the driver to take him there half an hour ago, and left from the underground garage. Seeing that I didn't believe it, he asked me to call the hospital to confirm. As soon as I picked up the phone, Bai Ningbing's phone rang first. He called in at one step and said his father had already started the operation. That's good. Call me if you have anything. Bai Ningbing, when will you be back? I looked up at Liu Ruyan, who was a few steps away from me, and replied with 2 words. It was fast. Obviously, these 2 words were said to Bai Ningbing, but at that moment, I seemed to see the starlight falling from Liu Ruyan's eyes, from a little light to darkness. He asked me to sit in the house. I shook my head and said, if you have anything to say, just say it here. Liu Ruyan pulled her lips and laughed at herself. Now that the truth is out, do you think I'm stupid? How should I evaluate this matter? Originally, he was also a poor man, but between him and me, there is the previous life and 4 lives. I absolutely cannot be kind to him again. Liu Ruyan, let's stop here. If we meet again in the future, we will pretend not to know each other. I can't do it. He suddenly grabbed my hand, his eyes red. After you committed suicide by taking pills in your previous life, I regretted it. I regretted doing everything. I want to tell you that I regret not keeping an eye on you. Only then did I understand that in the process of our getting along, I had truly fallen in love with you and me. I want to vomit. Until this moment, Liu Ruyan has not said sorry to me. He refuses to let go, not necessarily because he loves me that much. It may be because he has lived alone for many years and wants someone to be with him, or it may be that he is used to me being his licking dog in the last life, and was devoted to him and caring for him in every possible way. Suddenly he lost me, and I was unwilling to accept it. Any reason is possible, but it is not because he loves me. Even if it is really because of love, who can bear this love? I am lucky and reborn. If I am unlucky, then my whole family will die in his hands. When Bai Ningbing arrived, Liu Ruyan was still holding my hand tightly. Because of pulling for too long, my wrist had been rubbed red. Bai Ningbing, who has always been quiet and generous, slapped Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan's head was tilted, and the corner of her mouth even had a little bloodstains. Bai Ningbing pulled me behind him and asked me softly if I was okay. I said, "No, the red on my wrist is nothing, I'll leave soon." Originally, I planned to talk to Liu Ruyan about everything today and not meet again, but Liu Ruyan's mentality collapsed and she refused to let me leave. I wanted to call the police, but she snatched my phone away. At that moment, I seemed to see Liu Ruyan in my previous life, the same viciousness, the same horror. Invisibly, I felt my throat being strangled by a big hand. I couldn't shout out and I couldn't run away. Fortunately, Bai Ningbing came. Liu Ruyan couldn't let Bai Ningbing slap her in vain, so he also started. The pulling of heads between women is more terrible than the swinging of fists between men, and it couldn't be pulled apart at all. As soon as I got closer, two voices rang out at the same time. "Yuan, don't come over here. Bai Ningbing and I are husband and wife. It's normal to be afraid that I'll get hurt, but why did Liu Ruyan shout this? What qualifications did he have to shout this?" When he said this again, when he raised his hand to hit Bai Ningbing for the first time, I stood in front of Bai Ningbing. His wrist was grabbed by me and bent backwards, almost breaking it. Liu Ruyan's bodyguard wanted to step forward but was stopped by Liu Ruyan. "Why?" he asked viciously, but I just told him calmly, "Because I am Bai Ningbing's husband. You and him have no feelings at all, the person you love is me." Liu Ruyan was like crazy, yelling without caring about his image. He didn't know that his exasperation fell into my eyes, which I just felt ridiculous. "Liu Ruyan, I loved you more in my previous life and even deserted everyone because of you, but what happened later? Later, my family was broken up." Liu Ruyan seemed to be stabbed in the valve, and she was deflated all of a sudden. She looked at me in a daze, moving her lips to say something, but in the end she said nothing. She must have remembered that in her previous life, I also protected her like I protected Bai Ningbing. When my parents didn't accept her, I explained over and over again that her good friend, they looked down on him. I immediately broke up with my friends. Someone said bad things about him behind his back. I stood up to argue with them. Later he was injured. I went to the temple to pray for him. I knelt for 5 hours. At that time I really loved him wholeheartedly without reservation. He killed that Feng Yuan with his own hands. Now even if I cry and scream, I can't turn back. Liu Ruyan will never see you again in this life. After Bai Ningbing's father recovered, our two families moved to another city. Both parents still don't know about my rebirth, but that night after leaving Liu Ruyan's house, I told Bai Ningbing. He was shocked but more distressed for me. "You should have told me earlier, I was afraid you wouldn't believe it." Bai Ningbing held my hand and stroked the back of my hand again and again. His voice was as gentle as his movements. "I would believe whatever you said." I suddenly remembered my previous life. After I refused the marriage, Bai Ningbing was ridiculed for a long time. A dignified young lady, suddenly, I was outshined by a Cinderella. Later one day, Bai Ningbing came to see me. She told me not to care about the rumors outside and wished me happiness. Under that situation, she did not complain or blame me at all and remained gentlemanly and gentle. She has always been a very good person. 8 months after settling in the new city, I received a letter from Liu Ruyan. In the letter, she told me that after I died in her previous life, she fell into deep self-blame and pain. This negative emotion even overshadowed the pleasure of successful revenge, and made her sleepless every night. She thought she had long been accustomed to living alone, but later she looked for me all over the world. After she couldn't find me, she felt that life was too boring, and she imitated me and committed suicide by taking pills. It may be because he and I did not die at the same time, so the time of rebirth was different, and the progress of things happening to each of us was also different. After he was sure that he was reborn, he came to my house to find me, but I didn't fall in love with him at first sight like in my previous life, and I didn't even look at him. At that moment, Liu Ruyan knew that I was also reborn. He felt happy, but also afraid of everything that happened later. In fact, it was within his expectations, but human hearts are strange. Some things want to be the same as expected, but some things are afraid to be the same as expected. In my previous life, the relationship between Liu Ruyan and I ended with death, and we don't have to see each other again in this life. I found a lighter and burned the letter. When Bai Ningbing came back, the letter was not burned yet. He subconsciously asked what you were burning, a piece of waste paper. No matter what Liu Ruyan did after I died in my previous life, it had nothing to do with me. I only remember that when I was alive, he deceived me, used me, and forced my parents to death. If I didn't find Hu and Lao Shao in this life and didn't let the truth come to light, would he repent? He wouldn't. He would just do the same as in his previous life, taking every step carefully and forcing my parents to death. Then he used all means to keep me by his side and made me a walking corpse. The reason why a bad person is a bad person is because he only thinks about himself. If he really loved me a little bit, how could he send me this letter and mention things in the past life in the letter? He never thought about it. Now Bai Ningbing and I are already husband and wife. If this letter is seen by Bai Ningbing, will it affect our relationship? In the past life he treated me as his wife, and in this life he just wanted to satisfy his own regrets. A year later, Bai Ningbing and I gave birth to a daughter, and both parents were very happy. At the full moon banquet, looking at the scene where everyone was still having fun made my eyes wet. I finally changed the ending and finally kept the people who loved me. A Yuan laughed and shouted behind me. When I turned around, I seemed to catch a glimpse of a familiar black shadow from the corner of my eye. Uneasiness quickly passed through my heart. I looked closely but found nothing there. It should be that I was too sensitive. I must have seen it wrong. In the past year, Liu Ruyan finally broke up with me completely. Whether it was because she thought it through or because she had no power in the new city, as long as she stopped bothering me, it would be the best result. However, the next day I received a shocking news. Liu Ruyan was dead. She died on the way back. The dark shadow I glimpsed yesterday was not my mistake. Liu Ruyan really came. I hurriedly pulled by Ningbing to check the gifts we received yesterday. Sure enough, there was a strange gift box mixed in. It should be from Liu Ruyan. It's not surprising that you don't care about business matters and don't know Liu Ruyan. Some by Ningbing thought that this was a gift from Liu Ruyan for our child, but I know that this was a gift from Liu Ruyan to me and her child. She once said that she wanted to have a child with me. In an instant, a huge feeling of nausea surged into my throat. I held the wall and retched. Bai Ningbing was scared. I jumped and quickly supported me. What's wrong? Do you want to go to the hospital? I'm fine, just throw the things away first. Bai Ningbing realized then that I felt sick because of the gift from Liu Ruyan. He immediately threw the gift box out of the door. When he came back and saw that I still looked bad, he comforted me that he was gone anyway and I couldn't make trouble anymore. Yes, it's a good thing that Liu Ruyan died. Otherwise I would never have peace in my life. When my daughter was 5 years old, my mother spoke quickly and mentioned the original city. At night, the little one hugged my arm and asked my father, "Did we live in another city before?" "Yes, then why did we move? Was that city beautiful?" It turned out that city was very beautiful. As for why we moved, I thought about it carefully and then I remembered Liu Ruyan. I thought that Liu Ruyan and I had been entangled for 2 lifetimes. He brought me so much harm. It would take at least 10 or 8 years to forget him, but it turned out that only 5 years had passed. It's over.